Kiss, kiss, kiss. Yay! Morning, everybody. Actually, we're heading for lunchtime. I've been at my desk all morning. Yuck. Yeah, it's been sort of paperwork budgeting morning. More of that in a second. Mail sticker. But also just a moment, sort of a quiet moment to send a few sort of cards and letters to friends far and wide. Remember I was mentioning at Christmas I'd had a card from my lovely friend Natalie, who I used to house share with her and Kate, my two bestie girlfriends. Actually, whenever I think of that, because we were right on the Chelsea-Fulham border, you know that song from Cabaret? I used to have a girlfriend known as Elsie, with whom I shared 4 sordid rooms in Chelsea. She wasn't what you'd call a blushing flower. As a matter of fact, she rented by the hour. No, none of us rented by the hour. But yeah, whenever I think of Natalie or Kate, and I think, oh yeah, when we shared 4 sordid rooms in Chelsea. Anyway, so yes, that Christmas card, it was a delight because it included her address, which now means I can write to her. She doesn't do Facebook. One of an increasing number of friends who don't do Facebook. That's fine, I totally get it. Actually, I had a friend reach out to me just a few days ago to say, are you okay? I haven't seen you on Facebook forever. It's like regular Facebook rather than my kitchen garden page. So we had a little exchange and a catch up that way. But I think there's nothing, right, concentrate on the address because it's a new address to me. She has moved again. She was back in London. She's a bit of a globetrotter, my lovely friend Natalie. Actually, I was remembering this last night because I was thinking today I must write to her that on Millennium Eve, do you remember the New Year's Eve of 1999 going into 2000, she had moved to Australia and her apartment overlooked Bondi Beach, jammy thing. She rang me at, I don't know, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, her time, so more like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, my time, not quite, but later than that. But absolutely off her trolley, dancing and celebrating on Bondi Beach, ringing to wish me Happy New Year. I was so jealous. You're on the beach. Anyway, so I got my own back a few hours later when I was on Blackfriars Bridge up in the centre of London, across the Thames, to celebrate the sort of the Millennium fireworks were amazing, and wow, hordes and hordes of people. It was packed, but it was so good humoured. It was, you know, everyone was a bit off their faces, but everyone was so well behaved. So I rang her up at, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the morning, standing next to the Thames, a bit worse for wear on a lot of champagne, to say Happy New Year. It's just like, leave me alone, I'm hungover. Anyway, yeah, so she's been back in the UK for a while, which was fab, but now they've gone off back to America. She loves America. Her 2 kids both have American accents, so it's like, yeah, we're going back to the States. The boys miss being in the States. So, but this time, instead of living in New York, they are in California. So I'm wondering how close to the beach she is in California, because yeah, she's definitely a bit of a beach babe. So I can pop this little letter to her, catch her up a little bit on my news with the whole house move business, and like I say, because I now have her address, it means that when I move, I can let her know my new address. Oh, and this is a parcel for the shop. Need to put the return, my PO box return on that. I'll do that in a second. But the other thing I've been doing this morning is You feel a bit far away. Hang on, I'm going to bring you in closer. That's better. I'm going to go out of shot. Hang on. I might have to tilt you up a bit. Tilt. There we go. Yeah, one of the other things I've been doing this morning, where's my water? Oh, it's over there. Is my sort of annual paperwork blitz/budget. Now, I'm going to talk about this for a minute. Don't be afraid, like numbers, paperwork. I know there will be a few of you who run away from that and try and ignore it. And you may have a drawer or more than one drawer where you shove papers, you shove them in, and then you run away and trying to ignore them. But ignoring them doesn't get them sorted. So I do my little system every year, and honestly, at most, it probably takes me, it's like 2 hours at most, just because I've got my little system in place and because I do it every year. It just makes it so easy. It's a once a year thing. I would normally have done it earlier than now, but I was rather hoping I would have moved by now. So I was waiting until the move, and then I thought, hang on, I still need to do a budget even before I've moved. So literally all I've done today is anything that I have that's paper, and you know, so much these days we are paperless, aren't we? Which is a really good thing for the most part. But on the other hand, sometimes I think it is easier to have documents, paper versions as well. And in fact, prepping for this move has really shown that. I was talking to a friend recently saying that, you know, in future, in my next place, I'm going to keep a paper copy of everything as well, just so that I can very quickly photocopy or scan or whatever and get things sent, rather than having to fish around or ask other people. Anyway, the point being that all my paperwork, I bring it all out, and if I've got, so with bills, one generally wants to keep 3 months worth of bills, those things that come monthly. If I've got more than 3 months worth, it's time to get rid of. Things which are annual, if the new one's coming, I've still got last year's, time to get rid of last year's. Generally, I do that when things come in, so it doesn't build up during the year. But this is my chance to check. So I've got my little, just emptied it actually, I've got my little shredder. A little point, I need to get my water, just give me a second, that's better. Yeah, so as I was saying with the shredder, the thing about shredding, and I only found this out, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, which is why I'm going to mention it today. I may have mentioned it before, forgive me if I have, but I think it's worth mentioning again. I didn't know that you can't put shredded paper out for the recycling. I believe it's something to do with the fact that where the paper gets chopped up so fine, it chops the fibres up too much so that it can't be recycled and turned back into paper again, or cardboard. Of course, what you can do is put it on the compost heap, if you've got a compost heap. But because I don't have a compost heap at the moment, all I've done with my paperwork is I've torn out the most minimal bit that I need to. You know, if there's an account number or my name or whatever it is, just tear out the smallest amount to shred and keep, so that most of that letter, document, whatever is still there. That can then go in the recycling. So yeah, that's it always feels like a good session to start the year with, is to get on top of all the paperwork, get thrown out what doesn't need to be kept. Let's just get rid of stuff we don't need. But then to work on my budget. And this is where I've come slightly a cropper this year, but I'll share anyway because the principles apply. You know, if you're always avoiding doing it. I keep it really, really simple. I gather together all of my annual bills. Those are the one-off bills that come throughout the year. So that's usually going to be things like, for me, it's ground rent, service charge, buildings insurance, contents insurance, my boiler service, that's annual. What else is annual? It used to be things like paying for the allotment, that was an annual bill, my annual seed bill, I'm trying to think what else is. Oh, and then other things like if you have subscriptions to things. So for instance, my annual subscription for WooCommerce, that's the program I use for my shop. So I pay for that. My annual subscription for my PO box. Oh, more on the PO box in a second. So I gather together. I don't necessarily physically gather together, but on a piece of paper, I write down all my annual bills and what they are. Now, each year things go up, don't they? So I can see from year to year roughly how much they're going up by. Sometimes it's 2%, sometimes it's 5%. So having written all of them down and their prices that they were last year, I add about 3%. Add up all those figures and it gives me a grand total, maybe of, say, I'm going to do round figures to make it really easy. It'll give me a grand total of £2,400. So I know if I divide that by 12, that's £200 a month. I know that I need to set aside £200 into a savings account every month to meet my once a year bills as they come. That's not my figures. Mine's more, actually, it's because I've just done it, it's more like 1,200. It's come down because I don't have the allotment now, I don't have seeds. But say it's £1,200 for the year. That means that £100 a month I know that I have to put into a savings account on a rolling basis, and then, you know, sometimes that sum is building up, and it might build up to £700, and then suddenly I've got 3 of my annual bills all at once, and it drops it back down to 200. But it's a continual process. So I advise everyone to do it that way. It just takes the stress out of having those big once a year bills. Those of you who have a car, you'll know you have your MOT, insurance, road tax, I think, as well. Now it may be that starting it right now, you won't build up enough of a big enough fund for when those bills come in, say, March. But I would suggest start it now anyway, and set it in progress now for the coming years. And yes, if you've got some of those big ones in March, you are going to have to find extra for March, but then as it rolls along over the years, you shouldn't have to find extra because you should be putting it aside every month. So that's how I start off with all those one-off annual bills. If you can't, and also I have them written down in a folder, so that when I come to this stage each year, it's like a list of them. It's a visual reminder, so that then if something else was to come along and I add to it on that list that I keep physical written, I'm not showing my folder, but there we go. If something else starts in the year, I can add it to that list and think, that's going to be another 100 a year, so I need to add £8.50 a month to cover that 100 over the year to my monthly 100 in savings. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense, doesn't it? So that's kind of my annual stuff dealt with. And then I just have a sort of a reassessment of my monthly bills. Again, because things like I pay my everything, water, gas, electricity, internet service provider and telephone, they're all monthly. They don't change much. Most of them are sort of direct debit and I pay the same amount. But during this period, I look at all of them, especially things like, say, the internet, to think, is that coming to an end soon? Is my contract with them coming to an end? If it is, let's say it's coming to an end in March, I'm going to make a note for myself about mid-February. Say it's coming to an end mid-March. By mid-February, I'm going to make a note to myself to have a look on, say, comparison websites to see if there's a better deal out there, so that when that one comes to an end, I can quickly, seamlessly, hopefully, swap to another better deal. Same with insurance renewal dates. I pop those on my calendar. Again, it's something I mentioned last year because I got a new insurance provider. The optimum time, and this has been proven, scientifically proven, or statistically proven anyway, that the optimum time to swap insurance providers to get a better deal is 21 days before your current deal runs out. Excuse me. Those stairs kill me. Oh my goodness. Just think, touch wood, all being well, in a few weeks' time, I won't have 60 stairs to go up and down to answer the door, but it's perfect timing because this is literally what I was just about to talk about. I have ordered a calendar. I was just about to talk about putting dates in the calendar. This is from the Railway Museum. Plastic-free packaging. I should jolly well hope so in this day and age. Hold on. It's from the Railway Museum. It's travel pictures, travel posters. See, I don't need a huge amount of calendar because I've got the pin. The pin board is my brain. It's my brain manifest in the visual physical world. That doesn't make sense. The pin board is the centre of operations, but I do need a calendar I need to sort of be able to glance at like, oh, when's that date, and to pop a few things in. But this is so cute. I tried to get one from the RNLI. They were all sold out. But then I saw this one and it's all, like I said, it's all travel posters. Aberystwyth. Sorry. Bad Welsh, Vivi. And then there's one for Southern England. And then for April, Swanage. Herne Bay. That's not too far. That's on the way to Auntie Teapot's. So there was one time when, oh, hang on, it's the alarm going off. It's what it's like all the time. That's the alarm going off to remind me, excuse me a sec, can I reach from here? It's to remind me to turn the heating off. Hang on, I'll let you look at this while I'm doing that. Isn't that adorable? Hang on, just got to wind the numbers back down. Because I will forget otherwise. And I don't want to put my talking of bills through the roof. What else have we got? Any in your neck of the woods? Sidmouth. My grandparents were very fond of Sidmouth. They used to go to Sidmouth when they were still living in London. Littlehampton. That's quite posh these days, isn't it, I think? Grange over Sands. That's where my dad had wanted to retire to. It never happened. Penzance. It's lovely, isn't it? Southern England by train. Yorkshire. Where's that? Is that Robin Hood's Bay or somewhere? Oh no, it's Flamborough. Flamborough, some of you will know that. Ullswater in the Lake District. Gorgeous. So, just the ticket whilst I'm on this mission today. What I was saying about those annual bills that you might be out of contract soon is to put the date on your calendar. Give yourself maybe say 4 weeks ahead. So then that gives you a week of grace to hit that perfect 21-day thing, to start looking for other deals. It's what I did last year with my contents insurance, and I can't remember exactly now, but I think I did better than half. I think my renewal for the previous one was going to be something like 140, and I ended up getting it for about 60. So it was well worth it. And the reason they reckon that 21 days is the sweet spot is what insurers want to know about you is how risky are you as a person? Are you safe or are you risky? They see it that anyone who leaves finding a new deal to the last week before their current deal finishes, they see you as being a bit risky. You've left it till the last minute, you're a risky person. Whereas at 21 days, they see you as being organised and therefore safe, so you get the better deal. It makes sense, doesn't it? So yeah, pop those things on your calendar. You know, those look ahead moments for the year. You know, checking out better deals. This is a time of year I think of it, but it's not always necessarily the right time. If it's not the right time, having done some research, I can put a note on my calendar to just have another little look at a later point, is to just check across all my savings accounts. What interest rate am I getting? Because look, those of us who don't have a lot of money, we have to make our money work really hard. So every 0.1% I can get my interest rate up on my savings, all the better for me. In the same way with debt, if you have debt, whether it's credit cards, mortgage, or whatever, any deal you can get, every 0.1% you can chip that down by is going to help. So I know exactly what interest rate I'm getting on all my different savings accounts, and I've got many. I had a quick look the other day. There's nothing out there that I think is... there's just nothing out there at the moment for me. But I'll put a note on the calendar. I might review that towards the end of March or even into April. We start a new financial year. It's just one of those things to... It's just keeping abreast of your money, isn't it? And knowing... It's just not... It's that thing about don't just shove things in a drawer and ignore it and hope that life turns out okay. Take control of it. Be your own boss. You know exactly how much money is going to be going out of your household each month and each year. Because once you know exactly how much is going to be going out, or as exact as you can get it, obviously there are unknown things like emergencies. Hopefully you've got a separate savings fund for your emergencies, like appliances, good grief, or your car breaking down, or an emergency such as being ill and not being able to work and get an income. If you work like me, if you work for yourself, you don't have sick pay. But with the known things, those, your utility bills and those once a year, those annual insurance bills, what have you, if you have a day like today and you sit down and you know absolutely all of it, you've got it on paper, you know what all your monthly bills come to, you know what your annual bills come to divided by 12, so you can add that into your monthly bill too. And you can sit down and see, okay, my monthly expenses are £1,500. I'm not including food in this or clothing or anything like that, just the basic bills and rent, mortgage. It's £1,500. I earn £2,000 a month, so that gives me £500 a month to live on. I want to put 100 of that into my emergency fund, so that gives me £400 a month to live on. Call it 100 quid a week. 100 quid, that's for food, clothing, days out, what have you. You get the gist. So that's what I'm up to today. Now, so there's a number of things I can't quite predict for my new place. I know which council tax band I'm going to be in, same band as I am in here because it's a small place. And I know I know how much it is. But what will happen is I will have to reapply for some relief. So of course, with both my water and my council tax, I will reapply for the single occupant tariff. That takes 25% off straight away. But also with the council tax, my council, I can apply to have it reduced because of my low income. What that will entail is, they may just carry it on, but I'm ready with an almost full set of accounts for this year, so that I can say, look, I'm on a really low income, please may I have some relief. Here are my accounts. So hopefully that can continue. With the insurance, it occurred to me that perhaps my insurance might go up because I'm on the ground floor. I'll be on the ground floor. because I'm on the ground floor, I'm easier to break into. So it might go up because of that. But on the other hand, I'm on a side street. I'm moving to one of the side streets. So it's a much quieter street. Maybe it won't go up that much because I'm on the quiet street as opposed to being here above a shop. Maybe being above a shop has put my price up. I don't know. The other thing I need to check, which I haven't yet made a note though, is my new flat in a neighbourhood watch area, because that can be good when you're filling in your insurance documents to say it's in a neighbourhood watch area. It's like the difference between having your car parked on the road and having it parked on the drive in front of your house. It can make a difference having neighbourhood watch. So that's another thing I'm going to look up for my new street is, I think it is a neighbourhood watch area, but I'll check. So the insurance, I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm guessing it's going to be more for being on the ground floor. So I've added 25% to my insurance budget for the year. Fuel is another one because the new flat is a slightly larger square footage. The square footage is larger by about 20%. So I could immediately just add 20% to my bill. The thing is though, it's got higher ceilings. So it's the cubic footage of the new place is quite a bit more than here. Now I didn't know exactly. I've got the floor plan and I've got photographs. So what I've done is, looking at the floor plan with the photograph, I know how long that wall is on the floor. I know how long it is. So if I can turn that floor measurement up on end, it can help me guesstimate the height of the ceiling, and therefore I could do a rough guesstimate of the cubic footage of the whole flat. And I think it's going to be about 35% more than here. Oh, so I'm kind of budgeting that. I'm budgeting for the fuel costing 35% more. Of course, not across both fuels. With electricity, it should be about the same because it's the same sort of usage, isn't it? It's lights and sewing machine, stereo, computer. The electricity won't change much. I'm talking about the gas bill. To heat it, it's going to cost, I think, 35% more to heat it. Actually, I was chatting with Paul about this the other day as well, saying how, I'm done with being cold all the time. I hate it. Is that I think we're just all going to have to accept these higher fuel bills I think they're here to stay, at least for a while. For years, we've been spoiled, blessed, I don't know, is it a mixed blessing, with really cheap food and quite cheap fuel. And relatively cheap mortgage interest rates. Certainly all the time I had my mortgage, the interest rates were lowish. And maybe it's cyclical. Maybe we've had that 20-year cycle of all of that stuff being relatively cheap, and now it's going to be expensive again. But, our parents, our grandparents' generation, in the 40s and 50s, a week's salary, something like, I read the statistic, it might have been at the Imperial War Museum, I read it, was a month, I think it was a month. They said it was something like 50% of your salary went on your digs, 40% of your salary went on food, and the other 10% was maybe a pint, or 1 pint on a Friday night, or maybe a day trip in the summer, 1 day trip. So in their time, the vast majority of their pay packet was going purely and simply on their accommodation and their food, and that was it. And we expect to get all of that stuff for almost nothing. So we've got masses left over to spend on holidays. And anyway, so the point is, yes, I'm pretty sure the fuel in my new gaff is going to be considerably more. But I rationalise that, I'm kind of okay with that. I'm okay with the fact that it's going to cost more. That's all there is to it. So I mentioned, I'm just looking at my post. I don't know if I'm going to get out to the post office today. I'm quite cosy at home today. I might do other stuff. I've got some sewing to do. Yeah, my PO box, I don't know if it's broken. Hang on. I haven't had anything through. So I had to renew my post box, my PO box. And at the time it needed renewing, it was back in July. I literally didn't have any money. Just didn't have any money in the summer. It was awful. YouTube was awful. So I renewed it in November, and I need it because I need to put a return address on all the parcels I send out, so that if they're not received, they come back to me, and then I can at least attempt to get it sent to that person again, or maybe they gave the wrong address, whatever. But at least, you know, the stock itself at least comes back to me, so I don't lose completely. Anyway, yeah, so I haven't had anything. I haven't had anything via my PO box. There was one item someone told me about. It was a parcel. It was tracked, and it had arrived on the 12th of December, and it just kept not coming here. So I pay for a service where it arrives at the PO box, and then they bring it to me here rather than me going to the PO box, because for me to go there, it's a bus ride and quite a walk, and I don't want that. I don't need it. Especially, I'm not going to do it on spec. Think, oh, I wonder if there's anything there. I'll go and have a look. It's a schlep. So I pay extra to have it brought here. And with that parcel, I ended up, I called, I can't remember what date I called. I think it was about the 28th of December to say, why has it still not been delivered? And they said, there's a problem with the address. It was a bit weird. Anyway, I went and collected it. But apart from that, I've had nothing here. And I know that there's quite a few folks sent Christmas cards, and I kept thinking, oh, maybe it's just the post. So I called my PO box telephone number. It's different to just the standard sort of Royal Mail number. But I called them to say, and she was really lovely and really helpful. And I said, look, I've had nothing through, and I'm expecting Christmas cards. So she's going to kind of give them all a kick up the bum at the district office where my PO box is, to say this is a delivery service. It's not just a box service. So anything in that box needs to be delivered. But the reason I did that call in the end was because having sent out all the lavender bags, on that weekend there were some other orders for books and all sorts of other bits and bobs. I ended up posting 59 parcels that Monday. 59 parcels! Took me 4 trips. Oh my goodness, 2 of them were quite bulky. Yeah, so I've put 59 parcels out there, and if they don't get delivered, I need to know that they can come back safely to me, so that either we can try to re-deliver it, or if that person disappeared, you know, at least I've got the stock back. I can sell it, or, you know. Anyway, the point is, having a PO box, having a return address is a safety net, and it occurred to me that my safety net is broken. So I also mentioned, oh no, it's all right, I'm getting ahead of myself. Right, that made us, I was going to try my Horlicks today, maybe do that in another video. I've been continuing to try those teas from the Twinings Wellbeing box that Veronique sent. The detox tea is a combination of lemon, ginger, burdock root and fennel. I had the first sip and I thought, oh no, I'm not sure. I'm not a massive fan of ginger. Maybe that's what it was. Had the first sip, but actually as I went on, I started to really enjoy it, and I think it did better for cooling down. But anyway, yeah, so did I really enjoy it? On a scale of 1 to 5 of enjoyment, I'd say it was a 3.5. It was better than average, put it that way. If there was a box of them, just a box with only this one in it, I probably wouldn't buy it. But in this mixed box, yeah, I think it's quite a nice little change. But I also tried Glow, and this is the one for our skin. Has it had any effect? It can't have done, I've had one. I think it says it's got biotin, contributes to the maintenance of normal skin and hair. But this one, it's strawberry, cucumber, green tea and aloe vera. Sorry, indulgent. I can't say, it's impossible to say aloe vera without saying aloe vera. So what are the ingredients? Green tea, apple pieces, nettle, strawberry, peppermint, cucumber and aloe vera juice concentrate, biotin. Biotin, that's one of the B vitamins, isn't it? Is it 1 or 2? I think, don't quote me. Anyway, I thought strawberry and cucumber, God, that's going to be rank. Because they're cold things, aren't they? Strawberries are cold, cucumber is cold. They're not meant to be hot. I'm going to try it. I'm going to at least try every single, there's 5 different ones in the box. I'm going to at least try each one. By the heck, it were grand. It's really lovely. Really unexpected. Really enjoyed it. I'm going to give that a 4 out of 5. The sleep one I had for relaxing, that gets a 5 out of 5. That spicy apple. I got sidetracked. Just quickly, I need to go now. I need to shut up and carry on. I need to fill my calendar in. Oh, it's so cute. I don't know this place. Is it Lossiemouth? Lossie? Is it Scotland? London and North East. It's an LNER poster. LNER. LNER is one of our railway companies. It's the one that goes up from London, or if you're a northerner, it comes down to London. It comes up from London, comes up the East Coast. It's the line I take to my sisters in Yorkshire. If I carried on, when I had my wonderful time in Alnmouth, I stayed in Alnwick, but the train stopped at Alnmouth in Northumberland. Carry on a bit further, you get to Edinburgh. So Lossiemouth, please excuse me if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, but look, they're advertising golf. I think it must be Scotland. Lossiemouth. Is it Lossiemouth? I've completely lost my train of thought of what I was going to say, what I was going to do. It can't have mattered that much. Yeah, just wrap up, Vivi. I was talking about tea. Oh yeah, that was it. The thing that I forgot in the other video that I was about to forget now. When I was talking about habits, and I was drinking the tea and I was talking about spiced apple. What I was about to say, as part of all these new routines, is I'm trying to get back to having breakfast. I've never been a breakfast person. I'm doing it, but really quite late. So if I get up at 7:30, breakfast is sort of 10:30, 11, so it's still not quite breakfast. But just good old-fashioned porridge. However, because if you remember, back at the end of last year, I said I wanted to try and cut out all sugar apart from natural sugar in fruit. I'm still eating fruit, but any version of a refined sugar and even honey, they're all gone. And I was thinking, well, what am I going to have on my porridge? Because I used to like having that coconut blossom, coconut nectar sugar, whatever it was, really lovely. Or in the absence of that, a little sprinkle of brown sugar on my porridge. I thought, what am I going to do? I'm going to really miss sugar and porridge on its own. But I've been doing a teaspoon of cinnamon, and it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It kind of colours the porridge as it's cooking as well, so it looks like chocolate porridge actually. It's like, is it Cocoa Pops that turn the milk chocolatey? It's really lovely, and of course cinnamon is a great spice for us to consume. I might do a bit of research on cinnamon actually and how good it is for us, but never mind. It's enough to just lift that porridge. And the reason the spiced apple drink made me think of it is because the smell of cinnamon, to me, it just always goes with apples. Whether it's an apple crumble, an apple tart, apple strudel, baked apples stuffed with sultanas and cinnamon. Oh, gorgeous. So yeah, my morning routine now, well, it's very late morning by the time I have the porridge, but that little bit of cinnamon in there, it elevates it so much. Try it. If you don't already, there's probably tons of you do, But if you like me are trying to quit sugar, not trying, we're doing it. And if you feel like your porridge is a bit lackluster, I know some people put golden syrup in their porridge, all those things. Please try a teaspoon of cinnamon in it. So I put it in with the dry oats right at the beginning before I even start cooking, give it a mix in, and then cook my porridge. It's really, really lovely, and I do not miss having any sort of sugary toppings on it now. And that was right from the get-go. It's not that it's taken me a while to adjust and get used to it. It was right from that first bowlful. I thought, this is gorgeous. It doesn't need any sugar. I feel like I'm having some really naughty comfort pudding dessert type thing. I feel like I'm having a really naughty apple strudel or something, even though it's just porridge with a bit of cinnamon. All right, lovelies. Right, that's it. I really need to shut up now and get on with filling my new calendar in. What perfect timing. Brilliant. I love that. I couldn't have planned it better. I didn't plan it. What else? Look, I don't know. I will see you soon. Not sure for what, but I will see you really soon. In the meantime, please, if you haven't already done so, if you're terrified of it, tackle your paperwork. Get on top of your numbers, get on top of your finances. Just to say really, really briefly, I know Martin Lewis has talked about this already on his programme, Money Saving Expert. If there is debt, if it's keeping you awake at night, if it's unbearable, there are charitable organisations, not-for-profit organisations who can help you. I can't remember the names of them now. Is it the National Debt Helpline? There is the, I think there's I'm sorry, I've forgotten them. If you go to Martin Lewis's website, Martin Lewis Money Saving Expert website, just put the word debt in the search bar and you will find all these. There are 4 not-for-profit organisations who can really, really, really help. They will help you. Please, please, please don't ignore debt. Get on top of it. Get help. Get help. For those of you who have debt but you're managing it, such as a mortgage is a debt. Also, don't ignore the paperwork and the numbers. Get on top of it right now. Set yourself up for the rest of the year. And also, by setting yourself up now, it's starting a process whereby this time next year, you'll breeze through it in no time, hopefully. But yeah, whatever you do, don't ignore it. Have I made that point enough? Right, I'm going now. See you soon, lovelies. Until then, please take care of yourselves. Cheerio.